I guess they called you in to give a statement, too?
Yeah. Look, I'll talk to Diane. I'll get you out of this.
I think that's going to be kind of hard since I was right in the middle of everything.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't have to deal with any legal fallout.
Well, I had part in what happened. It was my choice. I'll answer for the things I did.
Is your hip still bothering you?
It's okay. I mean, all things considered, it's fine.
If you're having second thoughts about, giving your statement to the feds,
No. No.
my offer still stands.
Look, it's not that. It's me, okay? It's every time, I don't know, we go through a situation like we did last night, and it's a high-pressure situation. You gotta make split-second decisions. It's all about life and death. And in the end, you're relieved. I mean, I am, that everything is okay, but at the same time, I kind of feel like everything feels flat now. Like at the end of Wizard of Oz, when everything just goes black and white. Of course not. You've probably never seen The Wizard of Oz, so you have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. During this whole thing, you stayed calm, made all the right decisions.
I'm just really glad I was able to help.
Sam, good, you're here. All right, the special agent is ready to take your statements now. I would have preferred that he interview you separately, but he insists.
It's gonna be fun.
Jason Morgan, Sam McCall, Special Agent Thomas Rayner. Right. Well, I will be outside in the hallway should you have any questions or concerns.
The report reads like a Wild West movie with Russians. 5 men dead in total. I've only got one question. Why shouldn't you both be charged with murder? Why did you and Elizabeth Weber decide to take her children to a cabin out in the middle of nowhere?
I've been dating Elizabeth, and I was afraid she and her children could be potential targets.
So Elizabeth and I, we blew a tire on the way up, and while we were changing it, we noticed this black van passing by, and we didn't know it at the time, but it was the Russians. They had followed us. After we managed to shoot the second one, Elizabeth went into the bedroom to check on the boys to make sure they were out of the line of fire, and she noticed that the window was open and Jake was gone.
When I got to the cabin, Elizabeth came running out. She was hysterical. That's when Sam jumped in my car and told me they had taken Jake.
And then Jason and I tracked the Russians down to this deserted mine, and while we were searching through the tunnels in there, I found one of Jake's shoes, which was great, and then the whole place decided to cave in, and well, we were back to square one.
So we narrowed it down to a roadhouse out near the flats. And I managed to get a look inside, and that's when I saw Jake in a back room being guarded by 2 armed men.
And whose decision was it to try to get the kid out on your own instead of calling the cops?
It's mine.
Mine. It was the only viable plan given the situation.
You, walking into a roadhouse full of armed Russian mobsters.
Jason knows I can handle myself.
I gave her 20 minutes.
Yes, and I went in, I chatted up one of the Russians, I told him I had to use the restroom, I slipped off into the back, and there was Jake.
And I couldn't wait any longer, so I walked through the front door, I started shooting, and that's when the Russians returned fire.
And when the shooting started, I was able to grab Jake and jump out of the window.
The kid was being guarded by 2 men. Where were they?
Well, after the shooting started, they went to see what was going
Right, and
on.
one of the guys I shot must have fallen and triggered the explosive device because when that happened, I was standing near the entrance, and I was thrown back by the blast.
Forensics shows that one of the men died of bullet wounds, one from a broken neck, and the 2 others died from the explosion.
Based on your statements and the forensic evidence, it appears you 2 acted in defense of a minor child. And I'm prepared to close the case.
You and Sam both made a very favorable impression on Agent Rayner, who apparently is true to his word. So, now that the paperwork has been officially signed, you're on fire. You're on fire, Jason.
You can go now, I'll call you later.
All right, Jason, as your attorney, I'm going to strenuously advise you that now is neither the time nor the place for a heart-to-heart with Elizabeth. And I'm talking to myself. I could be on fire. Why aren't I on fire?
How's Jake?
He's fine.
I mean, they called you in here to make a statement?
I'm meeting Agent Rayner.
I want you to ask him to explain to you how those men died.
Why do you want me to hear how those men died?
Because Jake would have died the same way. I went in firing. The Russians fired back. The odds that Jake could have been hit increased every time I pulled the trigger.
But you were trying to
No,
save
I
him.
shot a Russian, and he detonated an explosive device. The room Jake was in was 10 feet from the blast point. 10 feet. Which means if Sam hadn't gotten Jake out before the explosion, our son